podcast where we put you on the map. This is Ron Costa, broadcasting live in the Mappable USA studios in Las Vegas. And folks, we always talk about crowdfunding, and we always talk about different ways of getting investments. We've talked about portals a number of times. We've talked about projects in agriculture with opportunity zones. And speaking of opportunity zones, let's bring in Vicki Hutchmala from the QOZ Marketplace and the Opportunity Zones Authority. Vicki, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent today, Ron, and we have a special guest today, and we're going to talk about farming, agriculture, how to invest in it, and how it impacts opportunity zones. So this is an exciting podcast. Can't wait.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. We've done something similar before. We got a lot of good feedback. So with that, let's bring in Brandon Silvera from FarmFundR. He's the CEO and founder. Brandon, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Okay, great. We have a lot in common. We live in great areas where there's a lot of sun in Vegas, and you're from where? From California, correct?
That's correct. Beautiful Central California.
Love it. That's great. So, Brandon, listen, before we start getting into the meat of the podcast, why don't we, can you just give us a little overview of yourself, your background really quickly, and maybe what led to you starting this whole FarmFundR concept?
Sure. Well, I am a fourth-generation farmer, and we currently farm quite a few different crops out here in California. And I started this crowdfunding portal, FarmFundR.com, basically to get investors interested in investing in farmland.
Okay, so you knew about the Jobs Act then. That was the impetus of your desire to do this?
Yeah, matter of fact, I was interested in raising outside funds long before the Jobs Act, and it was very difficult. So when the Jobs Act came about, I studied it pretty hard and watched some of the people in the commercial space do it, and decided that this was definitely something that agriculture needed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a huge market out there. There's a lot of people that, well, obviously people depend upon it. You got to eat. Have you looked into different parts of farm, of different concepts of it, or is it just like farms in general? Is it opportunity zones, possibilities, or what do you see so far on your website?
So basically, the way we have it structured is investors get to invest directly into the land itself, and then we either manage it or hire a manager to manage the farm for the investors. When the crop is harvested, the profits go directly to the investors. So that's kind of how we have it structured. So you can get on the website and you can see we have a almond offering, so you can invest in an almond orchard. We have a pistachio orchard coming online, and some stuff a little bit in the future. We'll probably have an olive orchard as well as a vineyard coming online.
So are all of these farms in California, or are they outside of California as well, or is that where you want to expand to?
So currently all of our farms are in California, and all of our projects are pre-funded by FarmFundR. So we'll eventually open the platform up to other farmers to put their properties on there, so we'd like to expand outside of the state. But for now, we think that the crops are very marketable and have a high profit potential. So we're focusing on California.
Oh, excellent. So if I had a farm and I wanted to be part of FarmFundR for investment purposes, how would I do that?
So as of today, we are not open to having outside farmers come on our platform. I'm hoping by next year, possibly the end of next year, we'll open the platform up to outside farmers.
And
okay, when you say outside farmers, you're talking about. Go on, Vicki.
So when I say
what do you mean by outside farmers?
Basically, for example, say you're a farmer in the Midwest and you'd like to raise capital to buy a farm next door to you. We will eventually open the platform up to have a farmer apply, tell us what they want to raise the capital for, what piece of property, and we'll try and pair investors up to buy that farmland with the farmer and get a good return for investors on that farmland.
Okay, because we did a podcast a month or so ago with an organization called Harvest Returns, and they invested in agricultural properties around the country. And so I think they're at a larger scale than you are, and you are expanding out to be able to go around the country and do more farming, do more agricultural work, and acquire more investors to invest in more farms. That your goal?
Yeah, they're a little different than us. I think they invest in some businesses and not necessarily the real estate asset. We are strictly a real estate asset company. So we buy the farmland, and we will not, open our platform to companies or technology companies, agricultural technology companies. So we're a little bit different in that aspect. Strictly real estate.
And I'm looking at your website right now. It's FarmFundR.com. That's F-U-N-D with the letter R. FarmFundR.com, and I'm seeing the almond orchard and the raw crop farm and the pistachio development. Now you're saying that these are all properties that you guys are developing yourself, and you have ownership in these. These are your deals. They're no one else's, right? Is that what you mean by this?
Yeah, that is correct. So we own the property. We develop the property, and we're offering to investors.
So
okay.
do you,
all right, good.
Or does it make a difference if the property that you're looking at or the property that you already are investing in are in rural opportunity zones, or have you not come across that yet?
So the almond orchard is not in an opportunity zone. I'm pretty familiar with opportunity zones around our area. We have not expanded into opportunity zones, mostly because the way the opportunity zones are written as far as real estate goes, you have to double the value of the purchase price within, I believe, 30 months or 36 months. And the way our developments work, we're not doubling the value of the real estate. So, for example, an opportunity zone, there's a lot, and you're going to build an apartment complex, right? So you buy the lot for $1 million and you build a $5 million apartment complex. That's kind of how the opportunity zones are geared. There may be some opportunities like that in the business world, but as far as us buying a piece of property and developing an orchard, we're not putting that much money into it to qualify for an opportunity zone. So that's why we have not formed an opportunity zone as of today.
Well, you can't predict what a farm is going to produce or what the price of the product that you're selling on the market to be able to come under that criteria and double your investment within the time criteria of opportunity zones. That would be a little difficult unless you have a very large operation that you're working in a vineyard or something that you can have a little more control over. And is that why you've chosen at this point in time not to go there?
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, if we put a vineyard in and we bought the property for, let's just say, $15,000 an acre, and we put in $11,000 an acre of improvements, we wouldn't qualify according to the rules for the opportunity zone.
Well, in olives and wine, that's not something that you plant the tree and then you harvest the olives or crush the grapes and now you have a bottle of wine or a bottle of olive oil next year. That's a into the future situation before you can even have any kind of product to sell on the market.
Exactly. And because of that time frame, we're just, like I said, we're not currently offering. There are some agricultural opportunity zones being offered out there, but I'm not quite sure their business model.
Right. Well, and there are rural opportunity zones, and we've spoken to people managing some of those, but it's a whole different concept that they're doing. That farming, I can understand. Farming would be a little bit difficult to come under all the protocols of an opportunity zone. So you have to do more development, business development, infrastructure development in rural locations. That just isn't a farming situation.
Right, correct.
If somebody, so now explain to us how someone invests. Do you just in a farm? Do you use tokens, as in blockchain, and issue tokens for an investment? How do you go about that?
So basically, you're investing in a LLC, and the LLC will own the farm. So they'll have deeded ownership of the farmland, and you invest into the LLC that owns the farmland.
So the profits at whenever you gather your profit at the end of the year or the end of the season, whenever that is, then your percentage in as an investor, you get that percentage as a return.
Correct. Yep, exactly.
How many years have you been doing this, Brandon?
Oh, man, I was born and raised on a farm, and I started heavily investing in farmland in the early 2000s. So I've been investing, farming, buying, and managing farmland investments for 15, 17 years, I suppose.
Oh my gosh, you should be an expert on growing things now.
Huh. I wish. I had a question about cotton one time to a really good cotton farmer, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, can you help me on this?" And he said, "Well, maybe. I've only done it 20 times." Because he only grew it 20 years.
Yeah.
And maybe he knew everything, huh?
Maybe. It's a very slow learning process when you get one crop a year.
Well, and it's so unpredictable, too. I mean, you might have a perfect crop, a perfect season, a perfect harvest, and then next year you get a crop of locusts, and now your perfect situation isn't quite so perfect.
That is very true. We're very dependent on the weather, as well as disease and pests. Farming, I've always said, is a long-term investment. If you can hold through the short downturns, in the long run, it's an amazing investment.
Yeah.
What kind of is there a type of demographic that will invest in farms, or is it just anybody looking for an investment? How do you find your investors?
So right now, our platform is opened up for accredited investors. So you have to have a net worth of $1 million or make at least $200,000 a year to qualify. However, in the future, we will open up some investments to unaccredited investors. But to start off, we're doing just accredited investors.
Right. And I noticed on your website, you go there, an investor would come in, see some of the projects, click to register or sign up, and if they're interested in making an investment there, that investment can be taken off the website as well, or you can do that online?
Yeah, so you can click on the property, and if you like the investment, you can click on the Invest Now button, and you can invest directly through the website. It'll ask you a series of questions. You'll create an account, and you'll be able to wire transfer or send the money to our escrow account and be able to invest.
Excellent. Well, the website functions then as a portal, though, of a number of projects that you all have. Did you need to get approval from the SEC or some kind of a governing agency to put this online and be able to take this money?
Yeah. So you have to file a form with the SEC, and basically market yourself as a portal, which we are. So it's not terrible. The Jobs Act has made it a little bit easier for crowdfunding in equity positions. So it's helped out quite a bit.
How do you verify that somebody is a qualified investor?
So we use a third-party broker-dealer that will they'll ask a series of questions through the website to verify if you are a accredited investor or not.
Well, the Jobs Act, though, makes investments available to non-accredited investors too, doesn't it? Isn't that a situation where, yeah? So does every investor have to go through that process on your website?
So we offered this particular investment as accredited investors only. We can register other investments for non-accredited or a mixture of non-accredited and accredited investors. Our next offering, the pistachio offering, will be a mixture of non-accredited as well as accredited investors. But to get our feet wet into the crowdfunding space, we wanted to make sure that we were dealing with a little bit more established investors that knew what they were getting into and kind of knew how the process worked.
Well, when you open up the field, you open up liability and you open up a whole host of other problems that could arise. Mm-hmm. It's nice to not have to deal with that.
That's true.
Your investors should really jump on this pistachio situation if they knew how many pistachios I eat on a daily basis. It's amazing. I love pistachios. Oh boy, they're great. They really. I was going to say I'm hoping that all the reports that are true. They're supposed to be good for you too. So I should be very healthy in that regard.
Always believe, Ron. You can always believe that what you're eating is fabulous for you.
Yeah. But let's get back to the investor perspective here. How do you get a hold of these investors? What are you doing to market this portal to people who would be interested in investing in agricultural projects?
Well, we're on an amazing podcast like yours.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
And
good answer, boy.
Well, since it's an internet-based business, we do a lot of Google ads and Google rankings is our main way of attracting new investors.
Yeah. And I would imagine a lot of people don't see this every day across their desk, and it is kind of a unique and different way to invest money into something that's kind of cool. And obviously you have the background and the success record of this. So so far, I think you guys are doing a pretty good job with this. This is a really niche market, and whoever did your website did a really good job on it too. I mean, it's really, really nice looking.
Yeah,
very
nice.
Appreciate it.
So do you market to professional organizations like financial planners or tax people or folks that interact with the people that have the money to invest to let them know that this is an opportunity aside from real traditional real estate or stocks and bonds?
We've been marketing mostly to start off to professionals, lawyers, doctors, people that are separated from the agricultural industry but have the income and the net worth where they may want to diversify their portfolio outside of stocks and bonds and whatnot and own something a little more unique and a little bit better of an inflation hedge. So that's kind of where we've been focusing lately.
Yeah, there's always that problem. You can have the most perfect investment, the best made widget, the best pistachio grown, but if people don't know you're there, nobody can take advantage of it. That's the hard part.
It is very true. I would have thought that it would have been a little bit easier to get people interested in owning farmland, but it turns out it's a little new. So I think
it is.
We have some hiccups.
Well, Brandon, some people say that farmland is a recession-proof investment. Do you agree? And if so, why do you think?
Yeah, it very well can be. I mean, you're creating a tangible product. Usually, if we're having some sort of recession, especially if our dollar has a falls a little bit, because we're on a global scale, a lot of our products go overseas. We create quite a bit of a demand. And then also it's backed by real estate. And anytime you see any problems with the market, real estate tends to hold fairly strong or even increase. So I think because of those reasons, agriculture is a great inflation hedge.
Yeah, and the way you have it set up, it differs from, let's say, a farmland REIT, correct? I mean, this is basically crowdfunding. It's not a REIT system.
Yeah,
right?
it's different in a couple ways. So a REIT will usually buy farms and then lease the property back to a qualified farmer. Now we're buying the farm and hiring a farm manager, so we're capturing 100% of that income, which tends to give us a little bit better of a return. So a lot of REITs may lease the property back for, say, 3 or 4 or 5% of the purchase price, where we're shooting for a 13% return because we're able to farm the property ourselves and capture 100% of that income.
Well, and plus you control the management of the farm, so you basically control the outlay of the farm because you are actually doing it instead of relying on somebody else's expertise that maybe they really do know how to grow cotton.
Yeah, that is true. I will say there is a little bit more risk when you're farming that, on your own compared to the safety net of just rent, a cash rent. But we think the return, outweighs the risk as far as, what may happen to the crop.
Well, and plus it's an asset that you can leverage, that
That's
you have
very
control
true.
of what's going on.
Yep.
When an investor invests in these projects, you're talking about a complete passive income on these deals for the investor. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things we say, that you become a farmer without getting your hands dirty because, we do the farming, you own the land, we make the decisions, and we can pull that with other farms that we have together so we can maximize your rate of return and the inputs that go into your farm. And you don't have to do anything except for receive a check once we sell the product.
Right. Okay. And then if an investor is interested in a particular deal on the website, we talked about before, they go through the process of accreditation or giving you the information. They answer a series of questions. At what point do they get, let's say, a PPM to look at, or some kind of documentation? Do they have to sign any documentation to move forward on that?
They don't have to sign anything. All the offering documents are on the website. So once you sign in, get an account, you can check out all the offering documents. And most time, if anybody has any additional questions or wants any additional information, if it's not on the site, then we'll be happy to send it over through email.
Okay. Yeah, interesting stuff. I really like what you're doing here. So, and what's really great about it is that you guys have control of all these projects, so you know firsthand whether or not it's it's marketable to begin with, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be on the site at the start. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, we want to. It's important for us to have good projects, good orchards, good trees, good water. One of the big things here in California is water availability. So we make sure that we have 2 sources of water, a well as well as a water district, and that we have a nice young orchard that is going to have a long lifespan. All things that are necessary to have a long-term profitable investment.
Well, plus that gives a bit, if you're changing your mindset to going from traditional investments into investing in agriculture. That's a little bit risky, a little bit scary, but knowing that the people behind it, that you have the expertise to buy the best property, to grow the best product, to manage the span of planting and harvesting, and you know what you're doing, it kind of eliminates some of that risk for brand new people into agriculture.
Yeah, that's true, and that's one of the things I think we have as an edge of REIT and other equity funds out there in farmland.
It's an excellent asset that you have for leverage.
Yeah, exactly. Most of these guys are investment bankers who are relying on people such as myself and other farmers to tell them what the best property is and where the best water districts are. And we're on the ground floor. So we're out here looking at it, finding the best places, finding the best investments ourselves. So it's, in my opinion, if I was going to invest in farmland, I'd rather invest with a farmer than a banker. So that's where
that goes without saying. A banker probably has never been on a farm in the first place.
Yes, that's very true.
Exactly.
Some of them.
Let's know how to buy the best property or grow what crop is best for that location. That takes an expertise that a banker would never even know.
That's very true.
It reminds me of the 1960s show Green Acres. Remember that with Eddie Albert and Ava Gabor? I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's
things from.
Yeah. It's kind of like investing in farmland without having to deal with all the crazy people. So you're all set. But Brandon, listen, if someone's on this podcast or listening to it on the archive or whatever, and they may be interested in finding out more information on how to invest into farmland and some of the projects that you're doing, what's the best way they can get a hold of you? A phone number, website, email? What do you think?
Best way is to go to the website, check it out. You can read all about how it works and what we offer. There's a contact form on there if you have any questions. And the website is FarmFundR.com, which is FarmFundR.com. And email us. Telephone number on there. Whatever you want to do, give us a call. We'll answer any questions you have.
Yeah, and I'm hoping maybe we can get you on another podcast in the future when maybe you do open this up to different farmers from different locations. That would be a nice way to continue your upward climb on this, because I really think you have a great thing going on with you right now, and to be able to put a portal up there for agricultural projects and real estate, I mean that's a winner in my opinion. So you're on the right track, I think.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, and maybe we have been looking into opportunity zones, but we just haven't committed yet. So if that ever comes to fruition, I'm going to give you a call.
Okay, that's excellent. Hey, Vicki, before we close this out, do you have any last question or comments for Brandon or for FarmFundR in general?
Well, I would just say this. After our conversation here, I would say that if you've never thought of investing in agriculture, there's all benefits to it and a lesser kind of risk involved because you're dealing with professionals. But there's also that kind of satisfaction that you get in being able to hold in your hands what you actually have invested in, and knowing that, yes, I'm eating these pistachios and I had a part in growing these pistachios or growing this bottle of wine or growing the olives that I can, and that just brings such a great satisfaction that congratulations, Brandon. This is a special kind of an investment, I believe.
Thank you. And that's one of the things that we take pride in. We want to send out reminders and information through email that shows, hey, look, we put some bees out in the orchard today and they're pollinating your almonds. We're doing this, we're doing that. Look at kind of look at the process. So if investors are interested and they do want to see it, they click on the email and they can check it out.
Or they can go drive by and actually see their pistachios growing on the tree, or help in the harvest.
Absolutely. If anyone invests and they want to come out to their orchard, come on out. We love
how cool is that?
Yeah, that's excellent. That just, get your hands dirty. No, it's one thing to get a statement in the mail that says, oh yeah, your investments did this, that, or the other, and it's a whole other thing to drive out and go pick your investment and eat it. What a score is that?
That really is a winner. That's great. So, all right. Well, listen, Brandon Silvera, thank you so much for being a guest on our show. FarmFundR.com. If you're out there, go to that website and you'll see all the information that we've been talking about on the podcast today. Vicki, thanks for co-hosting. You're listening to the Mappable USA podcast at MappableUSA.com. Just go to that homepage. If you scroll down, you'll see all our syndication sources, and you pick the one you like best so you never miss another episode. And if you want to be a guest on the show like Brandon was today, there's a guest tab there. Fill that out, and we'll see what we can do about getting you on the show. So once again, everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all your support. And we'll see you next week on another Mappable USA podcast where we put you on a map. Have a great week, everyone.